Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Silver Years. My name is DK, and I'm very happy to be here, and I humbly thank you for joining me. Today is a new segment of My Story Time. My Story Time is where I tell my story as a way to counter the ever changing official narrative of history, his story, because no one, not even AI, can tell my life story as a direct reflection of the times in which I lived better than me. And this is where I'm telling it. Okay, so the story that wants to be told today is coming in from 2008 and begins at an outdoor mall called The Block in Orange, California. So this was summertime. One of my sisters, sister number three, was in town with her family from Europe. They lived in Europe, and they would come in every summer to spend several weeks at my mother's and just holiday and visit everybody. And what she would do is take her three daughters, my nieces, shopping for school clothes during the summer when they were here. So I got this phone call, and the thing is my mother, the block was kind of in between. So I would be coming from one side and my family would be coming from another. And I got this call, meet us at the block. We're shopping for the kids and come and hang out with us. And so apparently they had been there. And I went to the block and I parked. Now I am always very mindful about where I park. I am not somebody who loses their car in a parking lot. And I just want to say that straight out. I'm not directionally challenged. I've spent so many years on the road. I just have a sixth sense about where to go and how to get there. And I don't lose things along the way. Now, where they were was at a big store, which no longer exists. That mall has been overhauled now. I think it's an outlet mall now. But at the time, at one corner at the north end of this particular outdoor mall was Dave and Buster's restaurant and gaming house, and next to it was this big store that I was supposed to meet them. And so I parked on one side of the mall in a huge lot. Okay. And I knew exactly where I parked. I walked right in, and I wasn't far actually from the store that they were in. And I walked in and I met them there. And we were probably only there maybe 15, 20 minutes tops because they were finishing up. And then it's like, we're going to go back, come over to the house and for a barbecue. So I'm like, cool, that's good. So as I'm walking out and leaving them, I was alone. My phone rang, and it was my friend Katie, and we were talking on the phone as I was walking out to the parking lot. And when I got to the parking lot, it was really strange. It was like the color of the world had changed, and I'm not really quite sure how to describe this. Um, it, I, there was just a different kind of look. The sky was a different color. Things were different. Okay. But I didn't notice it too much until later upon reflection because I was busy talking on the phone and walking to the car I had just left in the lot less than a half an hour before. And I started walking towards the car and I knew exactly where I had parked it near a tree, blah, blah, blah. And I was very mindful of the cars that were around it as well. But as I started walking out, I started feeling something is off. And then I looked to go to my car and it was gone. My car wasn't there. And there were all these other cars that I did not remember ever seeing parked in this particular area. And of course, I'm on the phone and I started to get, upset. My car's gone. Something happened to my car. And I started to kind of panic. So I hung up the phone. It's like, I've got to find somebody to help me. And no sooner did I hang up the phone, no sooner did I say that and hang up the phone, than a young man in a small white security truck who patrolled the lots of the block that I had never seen before. Okay. So this young man shows up, young bronze man, cute little guy. He was probably in his early 20s. He kind of pulls up close, and I'm like, my car's gone. My car's gone. I don't know, and most people would have called the police to file a report. And it's like, something happened to my car. And he says, well, maybe it's somewhere else, or maybe it's not where you thought it was. Now, and I just want to say, from an age perspective, I did not have silver hair at this time. I was young and spunky, and was not in any way judged to be older and prone to forgetfulness, which some people do make certain assumptions. I am not prone to forgetfulness. But anyhow, he invited me to, well, let's, come and get in the car and the truck, and we'll drive, and maybe we'll find it in another row, was kind of his approach. So I got in the car, and he starts driving to the south end of the lot. And I'm not kidding you. He would zigzagged up and down. These parking lots in the malls are very large. He zigzagged up and down these long aisles, and he was going south. And I said, my car is not in this direction. I did not park over here. I know I didn't. But he went, and he probably went out 10 miles. He went to almost to the end of the lot, and not much was said in the car. He and I did not really speak, but I just said, no, I didn't go out this far, and he just smiled, and he kept going. And we got to the end, and then he turned around and he started zigzagging back. So then we started coming back to where we started. And we got to be about 2, 3 rows from where I had left my car. And I looked over there and I went, oh my God, there's my car, exactly where I said I left it. Exactly where I said I left it. It was not, and the cars around it had all changed to be the cars that were there originally. Okay. How it happened, this was just my experience. So then the young man dropped me off, and I thanked him, and he smiled, and he drove off and disappeared. I mean, I turned to look, and poof, he was gone. I mean, gone, poof. And I stood there, and I thought, I thought for a second, that was really strange. We didn't speak in the car. He never asked me my name. He never asked me what kind of car I was looking for. We never, my car, he didn't even know what kind of car I had. Um, and there was no discussion about it. He just drove me, and then brought me back. And it was like the whole reality shifted in this drive out and in this drive back. Whatever. I was coming out of the mall, I was in a different something, a different reality, different timeline. You can call it whatever you want. I don't really know what I would call it, but it was a different, and it could have been a parallel universe. I mean, there's all kinds of languaging that goes with it, but this was the experience. It was a parallel reality, whatever it was, different timeline. It was different. Okay. I walked out of that mall, and I was in a different place altogether. And how that happened, or what inspired that or triggered that, I have no idea. But I was in a different place. And then he took me, zut, 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 and then brought me back, and the sky changed color. All of the cars that were around me came back, and my car was exactly where I had left it, parked near this tree. And I got into my car, and then I realized, oh man, this kid, he just kind of took me for a ride and brought me back. It was almost like he brought me back into the dimension that I had left, or the reality that I had left. And of course, I was pretty worked up, because when I was on the phone with Katie, and my car was, I started hyperventilating. And of course, anybody, you start to get that panic. Oh my God, my car's gone. And what happened to my car? Did it get stolen? Um, And then this was the experience that I had. And then I came back to the car, got in it, and then I drove to my mother's for the barbecue I'd been invited to. And of course, I was all wired up about this experience. And they're like, "What took you so long?" Well, I lost my car and I needed help to find it, apparently. And so I proceeded to tell this story right after it happened. And of course, they all made fun of me. Um, and the fact that my car disappeared, but I was made fun of instead of, anybody wanting to know more about that experience of what had happened. I was just made fun of. And I have to say, in my family, I was always kind of deemed to be the kooky one, because my mind is open to new experiences and new possibilities. I'm just have a problem with limiting my consciousness on things, and it does involve exploring things that maybe makes others uncomfortable, but I don't really care. Um, it's all contributed to my perceptions today. And so anyway, this was the experience I had about my car disappearing, and it did come back. The police were never involved in it. And all it was this mysterious young man who showed up, and he took me, and I don't know if he just calmed my mind enough so that I could bring my reality back. I mean, there are so many possibilities that could have happened in this. And in 2008, and I did have a certain level of awareness of things that were out of the ordinary, and that were occult and hidden in nature. But I wasn't quite prepared for this. But it did happen. My car did come back, and I was very, very grateful. So, in conclusion, and for whatever it's worth, this is my little protest against his story. This is me telling my story my way, for the record. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. So, I would love to hear your stories as well. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. So, until next time, be well, choose love, and thank you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.